Hi there, Wendy. It's Les from Artist Marketing. Hope you're well. Hope you had a great weekend. It was lovely to meet you the other night at the 6 o'clock club. So I just thought I'd make this video as we spoke about, just a video audit for your website. But more importantly, a little bit about how Google rankings can affect that website and, of course, more importantly, your turnover. A part of me wants to try and do this video as professional as possible. But as I'm talking to you, all I can think about is the brown bottle in my head. So I'm going to try and remain professional while doing this, while maintaining that image at the same time. So in this video, I've got your website here in front of me. I could spend 30 minutes just looking at the website itself and its aesthetics and how that could be improved. But one, I think you'd find that so utterly boring. But two, we wouldn't really be talking then about really how many people are coming onto your website and what that could do for you revenue-wise. So I thought I'd delve into the latter because that's something I think obviously you and the other partners at Biz Solicitors would find a lot more interesting. So let's leave aesthetics aside for a moment and let's just look at how many people are looking for a solicitor in Plymouth. In fact, I did mention to you off the top of my head that 1,000 people were looking for it when we spoke. Turns out that figure definitely is correct. I did want to double check that. And we get this information from Google. So this is the amount of unique people who are searching for these keywords every single month. Of course, there are so many more keywords that we want you to rank for. But these are just a few based on some fairly basic research that we know would be extremely valuable for biz solicitors to appear at the top of Google for. So where we want you then, really, Wendy, let's go on here, is if I were to type in Solicitors Plymouth, of course this is the day where the computer decides to be slower than erosion, but where we want you is in the what's known as the Google 3-pack. So at the moment, just as I said on Thursday, Garden Co Solicitors currently hold that top spot in the 3-pack. Now, as well as just being in the Google 3-pack, where we really want you is number one, only because around about 42% of the people who are looking for whatever keyword in Google, they'll actually be clicking on that first link. So it means that Garden Co Solicitors are almost getting half of the people who are actually looking for a solicitor in Plymouth, which of course is extremely valuable in terms of revenue. So we normally put this through a calculator. Now we try to be really, really conservative in these estimates, but also just based on experience, these numbers are very, very accurate. So we know that 42% of people are going to be clicking on that first spot. So 42% of that 1,000 are going to be clicking on Garden Co, which means we've got 420 visitors. Now, again, I've put the average sale here to be £1,000. I imagine that, again, that's a fairly conservative number. So, of course, later, if you wanted to do your own figures, pop that up to whatever you feel is necessary and more accurate for your company. Now, of the people who are coming through for those keywords, of the 420, we know that if your website has been optimized well for conversion, which is something, of course, that we do as well, we know that you should be getting around about a 10% lead conversion rate. So, of course, if you guys do your job your ends and all those leads convert into actual clients, just appearing at the top of Google for Solicitors Plymouth, you could see that would equate to approximately £42,000 worth of revenue. And this is every single month. So really, really exciting and, of course, really, really valuable. And which means, of course, if you ranked for number one in Google for all of these keywords, that could equate to approximately an extra £60,000 every single month, which again is crazy. Now, at the moment, just based again on some research that I've done into the back end of your website, I can see that biz solicitors wouldn't be getting a single penny of any of this at the moment. And let me show you why. So here we've got all the keywords that beers are currently ranking for in Google. Some of these, of course, are extremely relevant to yourselves and some aren't. Beers LLP and Beer Solicitors, of course, you've got position one in Google for that at the moment. But then again, you'd really hope that you would. And because people are typing this in, this doesn't necessarily mean that these are brand new customers, because if they're actively typing you in on Google, chances are they've already heard about you through some other method of marketing. Kingsbridge to Plymouth, for some reason you're appearing number 16. But anything basically past here, Legal Services Plymouth, number 9, you're only getting about 0.34% of your traffic through that. And of course that's not really a valuable keyword on the grand scheme of things, but it means we wouldn't have to do too much work to get you ranking a bit higher for that. But other than this, we know that you're not really ranking for any of these valuable keywords. In fact, if I were to go into Solicitors Plymouth and actually try and find you, let's see. Okay. Right, so you already know that you're not on the first page. So 20. Right, so I would have to be unhappy with around about 23 solicitors in Plymouth before I thought, these are the guys I'm going to call. Which again isn't a problem because that can all change, but it's just good to know where we are now, what our actual starting point is. Now if we compare that to Guard & Co. Their website itself is fairly aesthetically pleasing, fairly simple. Can't see any testimonials straight away, so I think they are missing a trick there. You guys do have a testimonial on your website. But again, I think something could be done to make that stand out a little bit more, so my eyes are drawn a little bit more towards it when I first land on your web page. But if we look at the back end of Guard & Co, then we can actually see what keywords they're ranking for, and sometimes that allows us to see what other keywords could be valuable that maybe we just haven't thought of ourselves. Okay. So right, so it says here that they're ranking number 3 for this, which we know that that's just not true at the moment, but this might be referring to number 3 in Google as opposed to number 3 in the local SEO pack. Yeah, so okay, so they are number 3 in Google, but they're not necessarily number 3 in the 3 pack, they're actually number 1. Law Firms Plymouth, number 4. Divorce solicitors, just generally as a keyword, they're 14, so we know not many people are going to be clicking on them there. But it gives us an idea. Family Law Plymouth. Okay, so we can even see the Guard & Co, even though they're ranking at the top for Solicitors Plymouth, there's still plenty of keywords that they're not necessarily ranking for, which again, if Beers were ranked for all of that, that would of course be a lot more valuable and a lot more revenue would be coming to you than probably most other law firms out there in Plymouth at the moment. So why aren't you ranking number 1 for all of those? Well, we use a piece of software here that actually kind of strips apart some of the markers that your website might be leaving on Google, so that Google can say, oh, these keywords are appearing in the website, I think this is going to be a valuable search term for whoever's looking at it. And at the moment, if I look at your page titles, I can see that, of course, you've got beers solicitors, property residential. So it would make sense as to why you appear at the top spot for beers solicitors, seeing as you've got beers on every single page title, beers LLP. But you've probably picked up on what I also picked up here, is that actually we can't see Solicitors Plymouth anywhere. So it means that there's another reason why you're not ranking at the top of Google for that. It's because you haven't left a marker out there in Google to realise that you are so relevant for that keyword. If we look at something called your H1 tags as well, I don't want to get bogged down with the jargon too much, but again, this is another way of being able to look at what markers you've left out there on your website for Google. Have contact beer solicitors. I thought I saw Plymouth there somewhere. About beer solicitors. Right, but you can see straight away there that if we look at the keywords that we really want you ranking for, you've got none of those keywords in there, which means we know for a fact that beer solicitors just won't be getting a penny of any of this revenue that we spoke about. Again, like I said, all these things can be changed, fortunately, but let's compare that to Guard & Co. Because I want you to be able to see firsthand, really, why. And why this makes such a difference. So if we put Guard & Co.'s website in there, we know that beers aren't really leaving any markers out there for Google to find and use for the keywords. Right, but the first thing that comes up when you use Garden Co. in this is Plymouth Personal Injury Solicitors, Local Solicitors in Plymouth, Lost Solicitors, so that's their H1 tags. Right, and that's only 6% of information this has found. Let's have a look at the page titles then. Solicitors and Legal Advice in Plymouth. Personal Injury and Accident Compensation Claims in Plymouth. Conveyancing Solicitors in Plymouth. So again, their specific services are also being used within their page titles, and then they're making sure they're popping Solicitors Plymouth in all of these as well. So again, this just gives you a very, very brief insight into just little things that can be done in your website to just change your rankings in Google exponentially, and of course changing the revenue and the levels of new business that's coming your way each month. So I hope that just gives you an insight really, and these are things that you guys could even do yourself if you felt comfortable and tech savvy enough, and that represents probably around about 20% of what we do as a digital marketing agency. The other sort of 70-80% is generally being able to create backlinks into the back of your website, which would have raised the authority of that website, and again is a really, really important tool for Google to be able to realize if you're going to be relevant or not for that keyword. And we've been doing this for, well, the company's been going about 13 years now, and generally we expect to see results within around about 3 to 6 months. One of the guarantees that we do use is if we can't get you ranking at the top of Google for those keywords within 6 months, we carry on working for free until we do. And like I said, we've been around 13 years and we haven't had to do that yet. So we'd like to think that we do know what we're doing. And let me just give you some examples of clients that we have worked with so you can see for yourself. If I wanted to find a nursing agency in Paynton, the first result there should be a recruitment company called Ocean Health, our clients. You'll see that in a second. Again, that should be in Google 3-pack. Don't know why the computer decided to be slower than erosion today. So Ocean Healthcare there. If I was to look for, let's see, sort of wedding band in Coventry. So again, these are just examples of primary keywords that you'd want to be at the top of Google for. That's our client there. So again, it's automatically where your mind stands out to. And obviously, both these companies have seen their businesses increase from strength to strength each month. If I was doing property clearance in Birmingham, so you can see we've worked with that's our client there, holding the top spot. Again, what we're doing is we're helping different industries just dominate the top of Google, because the strategies that we're using are the same every single time, simply because they work. So I hope that perhaps just gives you an inkling into how powerful SEO can actually be for your business in terms of revenue. It's probably best if we do a follow-up call in a week's time or something, but who knows, I might see you at the next networking event. It would be lovely to see you again. And yeah, maybe get a couple of gins in you and see you dancing on the tables, as you said last time. So you take care, have a wonderful week, and we shall speak soon.